Hey, good morning, my friends. I wanted to share a little story that I found in my devotional time this morning. It's found in Luke 24, and it's when Jesus has been raised from the dead, and he appears to two believers that are traveling on the road called Emmaus. In verse 13, it says that these two people were believers. They were Jesus followers. And later on in verse 19, it says that they had actually witnessed his miracles. So they knew him and they were familiar with him. In verse 16, it talks about how they were walking along and Jesus came and was talking to them and they didn't recognize him. And this really got my attention. I really started to wonder, why didn't they recognize him when they had been around him and they knew him? So as they were walking along this road, and Jesus comes and he starts talking to them, and he says, "What's wrong?" You could tell they were very upset, and they were explaining that Jesus was crucified and had died, and in verse 21 it says, "We had hoped that he was the Messiah," and so. As I was studying this out in the commentaries, they were explaining how these two had gotten so consumed with doubt and frustration that they didn't even recognize that Jesus was right there in their midst, was right there walking with them, right beside them. And I'll tell you, I can relate so much to this in my own life. There's been so many times when I have been believing God for something and time seemed to just drag on and it seemed like it was never going to happen, and I would start doubting and getting frustrated. And I just wanted to share this with you this morning because I'm wondering if you also can relate. That when we allow that fear and that frustration to distract us, sometimes we forget that he's still right there in the midst of all of this. He's right there with us, working it out, still working behind the scenes. Even if we can't see it and even if we don't know what he's doing, we still can believe that he is right there with us. One other thing that I found in the commentaries was that when they were walking on the road to Emmaus, they were walking away from Jerusalem where there was the fellowship of believers. And so they were kind of traveling off in the opposite direction by themselves. And I want to encourage you today that if you start feeling yourself having doubt and being frustrated because of something that you were believing for that hasn't happened yet, be very careful not to separate yourself from other believers, because we can all help each other. We can all encourage one another and spur each other on, and sometimes when we're frustrated, someone else can come in and bring an encouragement that can help us to get excited again and to start believing again, and we can all be there for one another. So I just wanted to share that with you today. I hope that it's an encouragement to you. I love you so much, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye.